Good evening. It's Monday, so it's monthly make time. I moved my tablet then, my computer then. I'm really sorry. Looks like we're on the sea. So yeah, it's Monday, so it's monthly make time, and it's the beginning of a new month. So we are going to be looking at our brand new box for March. Ooh, I do hope they've all arrived. I've not had a chance to go and check them all, but they should hopefully have arrived by now. If not, they'll be with you in the next couple of days. So yeah, new box time. For those of you who have got it, did you notice my little boo-boo? Evening, Sue. I made a tiny little mistake this month. Tiny being the word. I'll show you in a minute. Evening, Maxine. So yeah, that's it. It's quite chilly tonight, isn't it? It's meant to be freezing tonight. It did try and snow earlier, which is not a good thing. We don't want snow in March, do we? No. Right, should we get on and have a look at what is in March's box? Whoops, wrong button then. That was not a good start. I nearly disconnected everything. So, first up, yes, you can see my little boo-boo. I pressed A5 instead of A4, so our booklet this month is a little bit smaller than it should be. It shrunk in the wash, or it shrunk at the printers, one of the two. So, this is March's box. You get a lovely big sentiment, a lovely big doodle set. Some sentiments, sentiment set, it's like general thinking of you sentiments that will come in really, really useful. You get your little booklet, you get your discount card, you then get, let's start with the big one, shall we? Again, we then get this really big, oh, it doesn't want to fit, there we go. This really big stamp set, so you get a big floral, it's almost like a flourish, isn't it, in the middle, and then you get all the little bits to decoupage on top, so all the flower heads and half open flower heads you get, and these will all fit on the centerpiece. So if I turn it over, you can see the true size of this. If I put my hand next to it, hand's always a good one to measure it by, isn't it? It's nearly a whole hand high, that floral statement. Evening, Mum. Yeah, I finished my top. I have finished my top. I had to get one thing finished because Rosie's taken over at sewing machine. So yeah, nice big floral stamp there, and like I say, all of these fit on the relevant little bits. Yep. So it's great for decoupaging as well, and these are great for you just using by themselves, the flowers. And then you get this really useful stamp set. So you get things like thinking of you, deepest condolences, best wishes, with sympathy, get well soon, thinking of you, best wishes, with sympathy, and feel better soon. So what I've tried to do is giving you fancy ones, yeah, but also some very like basic fonts as well, and they're quite small, yeah. So in there you get a whole host of sentiments that you probably wouldn't you know, you're not going to use these every day, but they are really important sentiments there. So you can see got some really useful ones in there, and you can see the size of them as well on the back. So there you go. So that is what is in March's. I keep wanting to say April's because I am working on April's. That is what is in March's monthly make. So I'm going to put that to one side, and I am going to show you some of the lovely samples we have got. Well, I would do. There you go. That's my piece of card for in a minute. Should we start with Mum's because they're easier to get to? There we go. Let me get them out of the box. Oops. Throwing things all over again. Right, so on this one, I don't know if you'll quite see. Well, there you go. She's used the flower head in the background on that piece of card. I think that's a piece of coordinations, isn't it? Where you sand it back and it's a different colour. You can see she's just stamped those flowers onto that yellow piece of card in yellow, and then cut a few out on the top. But how effective does that look? I really like this down here. It's very subtle, I think is the word I was looking for. There we go. That's the problem, isn't it? I don't do subtle. There's another one. So you can see again she's used the flower heads all separately in the background. A lovely shade of grey, stamped on grey, and then those different flower heads to create the focus on that card. How lovely is that? And then she's used the deepest condolences sentiment on there. Oh, and a little bit of glossy accents in the centre. Yeah, I was checking, it does look like glossy accents. Or pearl drops, what they called. This one, she's changed the design up, so we've not got any open flower heads. She's done a bit of masking on this one. No open flower heads, but we've got those lovely part open ones with the get well soon sentiment on there. And then she's just coloured in the leaves, and she's actually cut them all out and stuck them on. It's all layers, so you can see them all. Let me put them down if I pick that up. Yeah, can you see she's layered it, she's stamped it, and then started to cut into it. And the same with these little flowers, so every single one is all layered and popped on there. It's cool, isn't it? Right, next, oh, pretty in pink. I've got a pink one. Look at that one. And she's even decoupaged this one up. I haven't tried decoupaging any of these up yet. But you can see, so she's done 3 layers there. I'll get my words out. Done 3 layers on that one. Then just coloured it in pink, so stamped it on an angle. And then just coloured it in to match her backing card. Really, really pretty. And she stamped it in brown as well to match the ribbon. All just tones together, so it's not as stark as it is as black. But using that lovely brown ink. I'm guessing it's sepia. There's that one. Next, we've got a blue. Oops. More fingers and thumbs. So they got a lovely blue, thinking of you. So you can see those that I said were quite plain on the packaging. They are plain. So these ones down the side. Yeah, even though they look quite plain, when you stamp them out, they still look quite impressive on your cards. Yeah. So another one in blue. She's gone for a fussy cutting, hasn't she? So she's stamped onto green and she stamped onto blue for this one, and then a lovely little brusho background, and then just cut them out again. She does like a cutting out, doesn't she? It would help if I showed the whole card. I'm sat there looking at it and pulling it closer to me. And finally, yep, this one's last one, Mum's. She's done it again. She's stamped the background but taken off the flower heads, and added just the part open flowers and used them in the background as well. And we've got Feel Better Soon in the background, and then just a little bit of splattering going on there. Looks like turquoise brusho, I think, on that one. But it looks completely different, doesn't it, by using the flower heads rather the buds rather than the flower heads. Especially with that Feel Better Soon. It reminds me of like little raindrops. That background, little raindrops with Feel Better Soon. That's really cute, isn't it? Right, so moving on to mine. You'll have seen these because these are the ones in your booklet, but here goes. So let's start off, oh, might as well go with blue, hadn't we? So there's one. So this one has been stamped using oxide, and then all I've done to colour, can you see the slight colouring on those flowers, is whilst it was still wet, taken a wet paintbrush and just pulled the colour back in to the centre of my flower to get that lovely colour. I've then stamped 3 of my flower heads and coloured them in exactly the same colour. So it's really, really simple, but I think it looks pretty effective, so I've used Thinking of You on that one. Hi Debbie. It's really effective, but you know, really simple to do. Then just finished it off with a bit of ribbon. Ooh, I've got grumbly tumblies already, how rude. A sympathy one here, so very simple, just stamped and then added just a teeny tiny bit of lost shadow to the centre of those flowers. So stamped in black, a little bit of grey colouring, not a lot at all, and then with sympathy in the bottom corner there. That's a big AB8. It would have looked better if I'd have actually centred it, because look, I've got a big gap down here, little tiny gap up there. Obviously wasn't thinking. Next one, we've got Best Wishes. So I've stamped the flower coming down this time, and then just coloured it in. I want to say using markers, it looks like a marker. Yeah, looks like alcohol markers. Then just added a gem. What I've done on this set, which is a bit unusual for me, but I've left the centres, can you see I've left them centres completely open. I'm showing it me again. There you go. So I've left those centres completely open. So ideal for putting your gems in, your little, what they called, your little pearls, that type of thing. So colour it in if you want to, or add those gems, because they look nice black like Mum did on one of hers, but also adding those gems, a little bit of sparkle maybe, because it does look quite subtle, doesn't it? I know, I found my gems. And there we go, so there's that one. Next up, you know me and my scrap busters. I've just got a scrap piece of card down the side, stamped flower heads all over it, and coloured it in very pale. So I just used a very pale yellow on here, and then that saying of thinking of you. But it's all you need really, isn't it, on a thinking of you card. There we go. So again, it's that very simple sentiment, but I think it does what it needs to do, doesn't it? Yeah. Next up, we've gone pink. I'm trying to. This one's got sparkles in the middle. So I've got that little best wishes cut down in the bottom there. This one is pencil crayon, I'm pretty sure, but it's got, can you see the background on there? It has got pink, and it's got flamingo and lost shadow in the background oxide, just to break it up a little bit. Yep, there's that one. And then finally, I've got an all-out colour on this one. So I've got a Get Well Soon here, and so this time I've added all of my colour to the background, not to the flowers. Evening Susie. So all that details in the background. We've got 2 or 3 shades in the background, and then we've added, I don't know what that is, we'll take it off. And it's got a bit bent, that one. And then we just used the flower heads in the background. So I've added some colour, took some away, and then stamped over it using those single flower heads. So great for creating a background. And then we've just cut the flowers out again using white card in the individual flowers. And then here I've just basically taken my white gel pen and coloured these in. Yep, that's all I've done on that one. And then just added a Get Well Soon. Really easy and simple to do. And then just added a few dots. Ooh. Yeah, still not turn the vibrate off my phone again. Right, there we go. So just quick recap back through these. Evening Tracy, really simple to do, easy cards, but I think that floral one really does pack a punch, doesn't it? You don't really need to do much more with that floral stamp. See, great background as well, isn't it? I like that one where she's used Feel Better in the background. There we go. Might do something like that tonight. I've actually pulled out some inks, and I've got a bit of an idea in my head of what we're going to do tonight, so we'll see if we'll incorporate that as well into it. That one reminds me of what they called, the little like Chinese lanterns. They've got a fruit inside them. Yeah. Get like a paper casing around and bright orange fruit in the middle. It'll come back to me. It will. There's that one where we started off. So just to recap then, in your box, throwing things around again, you get the massive stamp set, really, with that huge, again I'll show you compared to my hand, huge floral statement one, and all your different flowers. And then you get a really useful set of sayings. So thinking of you, deepest condolences, best wishes, with sympathy, get well soon, thinking of you, best wishes, with sympathy, feel better soon. I was reading them on an angle I could. Light cheese, they're the ones. See, it does, doesn't it? Like light cheese, yeah. I can't say the word now, but it does. It looks just like them. Well, not just like them, but close enough. And then of course you get your discount code, which yours will have writing on. And then not sure if I popped that on the website yet, I'll have to check after we've done this. And then we've got our rather shrunk booklet. Yep. Yeah. I'll remember next time to check A4 or A5. It was a bit of a shock because I didn't think they'd be able to. Normally the delivery company has to knock on the door to deliver it, and we were out when it was due to be delivered. And I was like, oh, you know, they're just going to leave it in a safe place like they normally do. And I didn't get any notifications or anything. And it wasn't until we got home and I noticed it pushed through the door, and you know, and you just have that moment of, oh no, it's shrunk. It's like half the size it should be. Never mind, it still works though, and you can still read it, because that was my main concern, that you wouldn't be able to read it, but you can just about make it out. You might need a magnifying glass for a little bit. I'll remember to look next month. I've never tasted one, to be honest, Susie. Wouldn't have a clue what they taste like. Well, I don't have any recollection of tasting one. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I've got to admit, this month's was one of those that it's like, not sure if you're going to like it or not. I started drawing it, it's like, yes, I am. I'm going to keep going and see what happens. So, I've got my little dropper bottles going everywhere. I need a shelf to put them on, I think. Anyway, I'm babbling. So, should we get creative? I was going to use Brusho for this, but I then thought, you know what, I'm going to use inks instead. So I've got mustard seed, a bit of peacock. I know I'm going really bright because we're going to cheer everybody up. So mustard seed, peacock feathers, and a bit of picked raspberry. So I'm kind of staying to my usual colour palette, but not. Well, yeah, I am. Yellow's the only change, because cracked pistachio won't really show up. So all I'm going to do is knock everything over on my desk. I want some yellow. And, oh, dropsies. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down so I stop getting the dropsies. That's what it's all about. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of that water. Oops. And I just want to do a swoosh. I think I'm going to go like that. Swoosh. Might do some splat. Apparently it's not splatting, it's splattering. I never knew. Apparently there is a technical term for it. Right, so I'm just going to, you can see how when I'm adding this it's still coming out really, really yellow. I don't want it to be really yellow, I want it paler. So all I'm going to do is come back in and start to just fade that out. I don't know if you can quite see. I'm just going to add a bit more to that top line. There we go. Should we do a bit of splashing? Why not? We've got loads of ink on our desk. Might as well use it, haven't we? So let's just do a quick, oops, just like that. And then we're going to dry it, but first I'm going to clean up that puddle. I'm going to move that to one side. And we're going to take some of that colour out of my brush as well. There we go. Let's get this dry, because we'll put another colour on, and if we put our other colour on before it's dry, we're just going to end up with mud, because we're working with inks, or Brusho would have made mud. But you could use any watercolour for this. You could use felt tip pens as well, you know, the cheap ones from the pound shop, which are no longer a pound, I'd like to add. Went to get some for a present the other day. It's like, oh, they were £2, not a pound. It wasn't just the pens of the present, you get what I mean. It's part of the present. It felt wrong giving a colouring book but nothing to colour it with. The afterthought became more complicated than the original present. Right, anyway. I think I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to do another swoosh. So I'm going to grab my peacock feathers. See, I did say I had an idea, I just wasn't quite sure how we were going to do it. So again, lovely big paintbrush, lots and lots of water. This time we're going to go I'm just going to do exactly the same, except for I'm messing it up this time. I just basically want splatters in the background, nothing too much. I could use a poly plate for it, could use whatever you fancy. Yeah, that'll do, won't it? Let's do a bit of splattering too, because, well, why not? Ooh. There we go. Get that out my brush. Oh, put my card in a big pool of water. Evening, Noala. There we go. Very soggy there. And then we've got our pink. I love how that mustard seed is repelling that peacock feathers almost. It's trying to jump to the top. I love it when inks and things don't quite do what you expect them to do. Or do what they're supposed to do. Yeah? So that's how we end up with new techniques and things, isn't it? We're going to give it a nice... And then we're going to have our pink. There we go. Right, let's go for our pink now. You can see where I'm going with this, can't you? Nice through my own heat. Come back at me then. So again, I'm going to pop some on my desk. Like I said, I am using my inks, but you could use your brushes, you could use anything really, as long as it moves. Yeah. Right, my last one, where do you think we go? I think we do. Doesn't really matter. I'm overthinking, just do. Right, we're done. That's where it's going. That's my problem sometimes, I overthink. You know what, we could just put a sentiment in the middle of this, couldn't we? Because I think it looks quite nice. We do have the biggest problem in a minute though. We have to decide which is the up. Right, let's do a bit of splattering. Whoops. Oh, too much. It's going to be a bit more gentle when I'm splattering. Let's get that colour out of my paintbrush. I'm loving my new pen pot as well. It is, well, it's keeping my pens, my paintbrushes where they need to be. There we go. Right, let's get this dry. So you can see we've just got splatters of colour. We could have used a poly plate, we could have done anything just to create those splatters in the background. I just had a thought, I might have been organised and remembered to cut some card and found ink. Didn't find my stamps though, so I'll be using the set we've just opened. I don't remember where I put them. Just lay it on the back as well, just in case it's gone through. got to admit, Bear came home from school and he'd had forest school today, which he loves. Got to admit that he does love it. But his words were, "I may have got some mud on my pants." I was like, "That's fine. That's what your waterproofs are there for." And he kind of did that. And then I had the job of trying to find his waterproof pants in a bag of mud. And then he goes, "Maybe on my other trousers too." And I picked up his school pants and it was on the inside of the legs. It was like all the way up to the knees. I thought, oh. So I spent about half hour trying to get mud out of everything. Right, I think we are going to do I'm going to do get well soon. I am. So I'm going to nick Mum's idea. And I'm going to use my get feel better soon. That one. And stamp block these. There we go. And we're just going to go in the background. So which way do we want this? Before I start stamping my words, I need to know which is up and which is down. So I'm going to grab my stamp as well. And I'm going to put it on my polymat because this is such a big bruiser of a stamp. It needs to go on a really big stamp base. Oops. I was trying to be clever and peel it off. There we go. And I couldn't get it to peel off. So just remember, it's a big stamp, this one. So when you're popping it down onto your stamp base, your polymats, whatever you're using, your stamping platforms, give it a roll because you don't want to trap any air bubbles behind it, because then you're not going to get a perfect print from it. So I think, oh, I quite like it like that. Oh, but I like it like that. I kind of like it. Gonna lose a lot of that blue though if I do it that way. I think we're going to do it that way, but then I lose a lot of the pink. I think we're going to do it that way then. Yeah. So I now know. I just realised I got. Oh no, it's stuck on there. I thought I had a load of ink there that was going to move. I think we're going to go that way. Yeah. I think so. So now, let's go for. I'm going to go for yellow to begin with. So that's the good old mustard seed. I can't remember who it was that's got me hooked on mustard seed. They said to use it on a live a while ago, and it was like, yep, perfect colour. So we're just going to create Feel Better Soon all over in the background, just where our flower is going to be though. I'm trying to line it up. So it's kind of straight. Yeah. Now I'm going to do exactly the same with the blue. I'm getting my sleeves in the way now. Let me roll them up a little bit. Looks quite contemporary, doesn't it, this background? Get a bit of Feel Better Soon going on. There we go. I'm just going to keep adding a little bit. I wasn't going to do pink, but I will, because I think it'll look. I've just got a few little gaps that I think pink will look perfect in. Perfect pink. Ended up with all my solid ones over here. There you go, not going to do any more. So again, background's looking alright, isn't it? There we go. Let's turn them the right way over. And I'm going to be a good girl, put my stamps back as we go. Oops, she says. I've lost them already. That's not a good start there, dear. I want another stamp off it. There we go, pop that one back on there. And then we're going to get this one. But before we stamp, we know this is wet because we've just been stamping it, so we're just going to give it a quick dry. You could just put a sentiment on that now and it'd be fine, wouldn't it? There we go. And then I need my black ink. There it is. I did say I'd roll my sleeves up, but I didn't. Or I did and they fell down, I can't remember. There we go. Rolled them up again. Might stay up this time. So because it's a big stamp, take your time to ink this one up. Making sure you get all the little bits. Including a bit that doesn't belong. A bit of tissue or something. There we go. Right, now we're just going to stamp it. And pop it here. And it's just going to go splat. Just like that. Just give it a good rub. Oops, I think I moved it. Silly girl. I don't actually know how much pressure I've put on that. There we go, let's lift it off. Oh, that'll do. That'll do. And I'm just going to dry that. Now, I've got a decision to make whether I'm going to cut out my flowers or I think we will. So we're just going to dry this one off. So I could have just coloured them in, but if I colour them in, I'm going to get all the words coming through. So I think it will be better if we just stamp them and cut them out. They're not that tricky to stamp, to cut out even, if I can do it. So there's that one. Stay. And I'm just going to grab one of my little pens because I'm going to colour my leaves in green. Like that. Oops. Getting carried away then. You can just start to see it coming through, the wording and the colour. But we'll cheat, we'll go and stamp these separately. And if we stamp them separately, we'll be able to have a nice little border around them as well if we want. There we go, it's starting to come together, isn't it? I'm trying to think if I want to do a little bit of shading. I think we might. Nearly there. Nearly at the bottom. I get impatient. You know, as you start to colour in, I do get impatient towards the end. I think it's because I can see it starting to come together. It's like, yeah, it's starting to work. And I get really impatient. Evening, Nicola. Last little bit. Right. So I am quite happy. Lost my little stop a bit. There we go. With that as a background. I think I might just add. I said that you knew it was coming, didn't you? So you knew that it was coming. Do need to sharpen my pencil. I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm not going to bother with anything else, because we're going to be adding, they're going to have their own fancy bits going on. But because this is staying as it is, there we go. And we might just a little bit on here as well. So where I've just highlighted, so where I coloured in paler, I'm just going to add a little teeny tiny bit of highlight to it. I think we're doing the cheeriest get well soon card ever tonight. There we go. Right, so now on a scrap piece of card. I'm liking that background. It's worked so far. Famous last words, that, isn't it? So I'm going to move that to one side, and then we need to grab our flowers. Like I said before, all of these, it's quite impressive. It's quite pretty into that background. It's worked. I like it. For a bit of smooshing with a bit of ink. Not overcomplicated. Just a bit of colour, a bit of water. And because it's a different shape to our usual splattering, make it stands out. So we're just going to use all the flowers that come with this now. I'll be good, I'll put them back on as we go. So I've got them for next week. There we go. Let's have a couple more. Oops. I'm sure I could have saved space on this piece of card. We need that one as well off. We've got one of them already. And then we just need the final one right down in the bottom corner. Right. Make sure I put that flower head back on, or else that bud. That's the one we want, and it'll be missing. So I'm just going to dry these off because we're going to do some painting again now. And then I think we're going to use the same colours. So I'm going to use my peacock feathers and my picked raspberry. And we're going to see if this works. So we're going to splodge a peacock feather. There we go. 2 splodges. Splodge a peacock feather and picked raspberry. I think I said that the wrong way around, didn't I? Yes, we're going to keep them separate, but we're going to have a play at the same time. Oh, my brush was yellow. So we're going to start off with a bit of peacock feathers in the centre. Oops, piece of tissue. So on that lovely peacock feather in the centre, I'm going to start to draw it to the tip, but not take it all the way to the tip. So I'm coming about halfway down my flower, my petal. I'm working quite quickly because I don't want this to dry. Otherwise, blending it will be I was going to say a nightmare. It won't be a nightmare, that's a bit extreme, isn't it? It won't be as easy. I'm just adding a bit more to the centre, and because it's wet, it's doing most of the work for me. So oops, now he's throwing it all away then. Keep adding bits to it. Right, so when I think I'm done with my blue, which I think I am, I'm then going to take my pink and start dragging it up the other way. And what I don't want is that big. Maybe not liking this. I'll have to see how it goes, see if it improves, I think is what I'm trying to say. We always have to have a dog's dinner moment, don't we? I think this is it. Maybe. Because it's really wet, it's starting to maybe. I sounded surprised by myself then. Ooh. Maybe. I'm glad I didn't do it directly onto the card like I was thinking. But yeah, you can see how much that's bled. So how much water I've added. Yeah? Right, let's go back to our blue. Let's add some more water. I'm going to do it slightly different this time. I'm going to wet my flour, I think, first. You can see how much I'm putting on by how much it's pooling. Keep adding more. Yeah, it does improve if it gets a little bit darker, I think. You're just being kind though, aren't you, Mum? I know. Yeah, we'll get there with it. It is, I think it is starting to improve a little bit. Then we're going to take our pink. Coming from the other end. Ooh. I want a bit heavy that time. This rate, I could have just gone and got a purple. Might come back to it and try and add the blue, the pink to it in a second. Oops. And I'm just going to start at the bottom. So when I'm adding my darker colour, I'm just going back, picking up the ink and trying to get rid of the water out my brush before I do it. I am really glad that we are cutting these out though. I think I'd have been crying if I'd done this directly onto my card. Yep, let's go and get some pink. Especially with how much water I'm applying. There we go. Right, and whilst I've got this one, I'm going to come back and do a little bit of pink on the tips here. Yep. Nope, that one's still a bit too wet. Pink. It's a bit different, isn't it? It's an experiment. No, I was going to say experimenters. That's not the right word, is it? Scientists. Tonight. That's what we're doing tonight. We're being scientists. And how not to apply colour. Or how to apply colour if it works, which it's having moments when I think it's working and then it's having moments when I think, not too keen. Okay. Oopsie, really, really wet. I'm going to just come back in on that. Just like that. So you want it wet so it blends with that blue better, but you don't want it too wet that it overruns it. There we go. You know, by Jove, we might have got it by the end of this. Thanks for the encouragement, Noala. Just adding. I think though the colours that they start with are a little bit closer, aren't they, together than blue, bright blue at that, and bright pink. To be fair, yeah, it's working kind of. I'm loving my piece of tissue though. Right, we want our blue again. I'm just going to do tiny bits to the tops here. Just like that. And then just grab that pink again. There's a really fine balance between it being too wet and not wet enough. Go. See, we kind of got there. Tell you what though, it's going to look stunning, isn't it, on our background. Right, I'm not faffing anymore. Kind of like that. Look, look at that bleeding. That, oh, it's gone everywhere. Clean a paintbrush out. And then clean up our table a bit. Thank you. I can leave that there because we might need it again. These need drying because, well, you can see they are a bit soppy. Oh no, they've not come back on the back though. Thanks, Susie. It's turned out better than that. I think Mum's right. As they dry, they look a bit better. Not bad for being a scientist. Experimenter. I like the term experimenter better. You're being an experimenter. But it has just given me an idea. Can you see how much? I don't know if you'll see it actually. Actually, I'm going to stop burning my fingers and I'll show you in a second. Can you see around that one how much it's bled? No, it's not quite coming through, is it? There we go, it is now. Yeah? So, I'm wondering if, hello, we can create a background that, come on. Yeah, camera didn't like that. There we go. He's back with us now. Yeah. It's almost like I poked the camera in the eye. It didn't like it at all. I'm wondering if we can do something similar with the background. So I'm going to go into this. Oh, before I did though, I think it wanted a little bit of white gel pen. I think that would look pretty impressive. I'm not leaving a border. You know, before I was going on, oh, we can leave a lovely border. I'm not leaving a border because it has bled. And I don't want it. I'd have to go around with a white pen. So instead, we're just going to do a bit of shaping, which works just as well. This is why I always say I think I've got an idea. It never quite works how I think it's going to work. Or like before when the ink didn't quite react how I expected it to. It all works in pen, doesn't it? There we go. Right, before I do my other bits, let's get our white pen back. Is it that one? Yes, that one. I'm just going to add a few little bits. So that one goes like that. Oops, no, stab myself with my scissors, not a good idea. I'm just going to add a few little bits in here. Nothing too much. But you can't even see what I'm doing, to be honest. So I'm just going near the black lines we've got drawn. Keep turning it round and going for it. There we go. And then quickly, whilst I've got my pen in my hand, I'm just going to do these others. Because whilst it's on a bigger piece of paper, it's easier to do, isn't it? Yeah, don't forget to do centres. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this centre. I can't see me bling. Can't see me gems. I do keep looking. Might use a bit of sparkle instead then. But definitely a bit of coloured bling on these. So I spent all that time putting the colour in just to take it out with my white gel pen. Not at all. I'll show you in a second. Oops. I forget how many of them there is. There we go. You can tell I'm rushing because I'm doing the whoops of daisies. There you go. If I pick it up, especially this one. There we go. Just see that little bit of white on there. Yep. Really adds to it, doesn't it? So, I've got that one. Now, let me just finish chopping these off. I nearly chopped a petal off then. Because they will. Might see a bit of a mermaid, I don't know why. It's the colours, isn't it? It's the mermaid flower. But it's such a big and bold flower, this one, isn't it? You don't. I spent a long time colouring it in tonight and stamping it and things. You really don't need to. You can just get away with just stamping it, adding the tiniest amount of colour to it, and then going for it. It'll look lovely. There you go. Speed cutting at its best, or worst, depends how closely you're looking. There we go, 3. I have been naughty on this one. Normally I do everything in odd numbers, don't I? But you've got 2 stems and 6 flowers. I kept trying to make it uneven, but Didn't look right. You know what, our experiment did work because these little flowers are looking pretty special. There we go. Look, that's the cuteness. And then all we have to do is we'll pop these on top. I think I've even got some foam pads next to me. Just like that. Ding, 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 ding. I'm really pleased with them. I know I kept saying dog's dinner, but it turned out okay in the end. Just goes to show, doesn't it, that you just have to keep going sometimes for it to turn out. Right in the end. Right. There we go, let's get rid of all you. Yeah, it made it in the bag today. Let's grab our sentiments that aren't there. This, they are there. And we're doing get well soon, aren't we? Yes, we are. So let's grab another piece of scrap. And whilst I'm over here, let's grab, look at that for a piece of scrap. It did make a big difference, didn't it, when the ink dried? I've got to admit, it was a, ooh, is this going to work moment? But it did. I think my scrap's a little impressive for my sentiment, isn't it? Get a lot of sentiment stamps on this one. So we've got feel better soon and get well soon as our sentiment for this one. Oh, too tiny. I thought I was going to be clever and be able to stamp it that way. No. Just like that. I hope it's kind of level. No. Just run this the other way around. Hang on, you're going to get my head for a minute. There we go. It's also the nice thing about distress inks, isn't it? You can get such intense colours from them. Because like I say, I was just going to go and grab my brushes like I normally do. And I thought, no, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We will use our inks. Because you'd have got a very similar effect using our brushes. You know what, we've come this far without too many mistakes. So I'm just going to make sure I dry that so it doesn't mess up. Put my lid back on. Should really see if I've got a backing for this as well. There we go, let's pop you back over there because you're a really useful size, to be fair. To be fair to you, my dear. I've got that one. Let me just see if I can grab. Ooh, maybe. Ooh. Look at that. See, even the smallest of scraps are useful. Don't think I'll save it after I've cut this bit out though. I think that's asking a bit too much out of this piece of paper. See, that's a coordinations one as well. We were talking about them earlier, weren't we? Because I think that's what Mummy used on one of hers. Not seen them in years, the coordination stuff. Right. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, really can't get any more out of that, can I? Pop that there. Let's get rid of my guillotine as well. Let's just do a quick doodle around the edge of this one. You can see how it's all coming together now, can't you? We're getting there. We've had a couple of hairy, scary moments. I think sometimes when you have your hairy scary movements, that's when you learn the most, isn't it? Right, I better get well soon. I want some googly eyes to go in there. Maybe not for this card, but let's get our background back down. Ooh, that's a bit of a rhyme, wasn't it? Background back down. Try and flatten him out a little bit, he's a bit everywhere. That's going to go there like so. That one will come down at the bottom. It looks very cheery, doesn't it? And then I'm just going to grab, as we go, I'm going to grab a foam pad, she says, and then they won't come off. These are the ones that are, oh, excuse me, that was a rumbly tumbly. Very, very sticky. So if you have to use your scissors on them, your scissors are stuck forever. Well, not forever, but, you know, long time. Don't know if you can hear the grumbly tumbly going on. Now just be careful with these little ones because they are very similar. So look for your spiky bits. In size, I mean. There we go, that one goes there. And this one is just slightly bigger one. Oh, thank you, Maxine. It's very pretty, isn't it? Don't normally do pretty pink. I do need some gems, some sparkly bits to go in the middle. Have to be find on my desk. Just gonna grab these. Let's get that teeny tiny one first. I thought if I don't stick them on now, I'm going to lose them, aren't I? See, really sticky. I suppose that's a good thing for a foam pad to be really sticky, isn't it? You want it not to be sticky. I love how the colours just match perfectly. It did work, didn't it? It did. Put this one down here. I will admit, didn't think it was going to. That painting, oof. I'm being kind there, calling it painting. That's splodging. I whacked a paintbrush around. There we go. Obviously it needs gems. I cannot, without going rooting for a while. Oh, where did I find that though? I love it when I find something I didn't know was on my desk. Without rooting for a long while. Don't know where I've put my gems. A little gem in each of those, and I think that will just be perfect. I need to stick that bit down as well, don't I? There we go. But there you go. Our first make with this month's monthly make. Cool, isn't it? So just to recap, should we do a quick run through what you got in the box, what you should have had in your box? If you didn't get it in your box, then let me know. We got our big floral statement stamp set. We got our thinking of you greetings. We got our rather small booklet, A5, A4, big difference. And we got our discount card, and we made, well, and tonight we made that one. Pretty cool, isn't it? I'm really chuffed with that. It's really different, but it's really really pretty. That's the word, isn't it? Pretty pink, and all we've done for that background is just splodged some distress ink in the background. Simple, easy, and that flower just makes, well, it does what its name says. It makes a statement. Right, so let me see if I can figure this out again. There we go. Couldn't see it for looking then. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you are loving your monthly make box. I know a few of you have said you've liked this one. Yeah, it's a big stamp, great focal point. You don't need to colour it in, but I had fun colouring it in like that, and I enjoyed being a bit of an experimenter tonight with our colour. Definitely going to do that again though. Those colours are just beautiful. I'm going to show you. Let me show you. Let me show you again. Look. Now you can quite see them. No, not doing justice, is it? No. And I've destroyed my card as well. Anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. We'll be back on Wednesday. Well, we'll just be playing and having fun. And I don't know what we'll be doing, but we'll find something. Have a bit of a play. Yep, so that's Wednesday at 8:30. I do hope you can join me then. Thanks for watching tonight, and I will see you all. My phone's going a bit crazy again. I will see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.